Hey, so this just came to me, and so I'm going to do a vlog about it because I'm thinking about it. That's pretty much all that is. So, in my career as Sylvie, being both a Muay Thai fighter, but also a Muay Thai fighter who is very well documented because I document myself. I've had blogs um, since I started, so I've written about my experience, and then because I was also on social media, as I started becoming more widespread, I guess is the way to say it. People would contact me, and as I gained experience, I started getting more questions from people, and I think one of the most frequent reasons for someone contacting me has been people being very upset or very freaked out for very, very normal reasons. I got a lot of people contacting me because they're nervous about their first fight, or they're scared about their first fight, or not even their first fight. They're scared or nervous about a fight, and they think that there's something wrong with them, that they're scared or nervous about a fight. I've written about this on my blog, and I will say this forever until the day I die, is that there is nothing abnormal or even wrong with being nervous before a fight. I still get nervous before fights. I'm 268 in, and I still get nervous before fights. Something that I'd like to say so that people kind of have context is that it's just become part of my process of getting ready for a fight. It's like how I get sleepy before going to sleep. You get nervous before you fight because it's just part of the process. Like, it doesn't indicate necessarily that anything's wrong. The times that being nervous or being scared is a problem is when your energy is not going out and you're starting to kind of like close in on yourself. And one of the reasons you might close in on yourself is being afraid of the nerves, being afraid of the fear rather than actually afraid of the fight. Being afraid or nervous about the fight is totally natural. Being afraid of your fear or afraid of your nerves, that's like this, what is it called? Iron Maiden, that like human shaped thing that had the spikes coming in to torture people. That's a problem. You don't want your energy going in against yourself, and you do that by trying to close down and be like, I'm not scared, I'm not nervous, when you actually are, rather than allowing that energy to kind of go out, be like, I'm nervous and I'm scared, and it's okay. Like, then that energy is really actually useful when you get in the ring. Another reason that people contact me that's very similar actually is that they've lost a fight or maybe even two, or they're really struggling in their training, but generally it's this idea that like they're afraid that they're just terrible, and they're like, how long can I suck before it's like not even worth it anymore, or like I lost one fight or two fights, like should I even carry on? And I'm actually a pretty good person to contact about this because given my whole fight experience of 268 fights, I've lost like 60 something, 70 something times. That's a lot of losses. Ratio wise, I've won way more, but I've lost more times than most people have fought at all in their entire careers, just because I've fought so many times. But I've also had like losing streaks. When I was in America, I had like a 6-fight losing streak that, because in America opportunities are not as close together, that took me like a year of losing. It sucked. I've had long losing streaks in Thailand as well, but because I fight all the time, or have fought all the time here before COVID, that didn't take too long. That took like a month and a half to lose 6 times or something like that, which is not that bad. But it's also one of those things where like you gain experience in losing, and so you can handle losing better. I think it was Muhammad Ali. He was undefeated for a really long time, and then when he lost, he said, well, now that I've lost, the only thing to do is to lose well, which was awesome. Muhammad Ali is awesome. But the reason I'm making this video is that those two concerns from people, that they're no good, or that they're nervous, or they're scared about their fight, and they think there's something wrong with them, that they're having completely normal human emotions, and when you're going into something that if it's important to you, and it's meaningful to you, you will be nervous, and it will mean a lot to you, and it sucks to lose. Like losing never gets easier. You just get kind of more used to it. Like, you've been there before. Like, it still really, really sucks to lose. I hate it. But, you know, when you've only done something 2 or 3 times, you're not awesome at winning. You're not awesome at losing. It's just there's this kind of perfume around winning that everyone's happy for you. And so it's much easier to kind of like get by on that. But the reason I'm making this video, and why I'm thinking about this, is that it actually kind of has quite a bit to do with compassion and being helpful to people who are experiencing those things, which is that it's not necessarily compassionate to tell people that what they're feeling is invalid or like that they shouldn't be feeling that or whatever the thing is. It's very natural if someone's very nervous or very afraid to be like, don't feel that way. Don't feel like that. Or if someone is very ashamed or feels bad that they lost a fight, 2 fights, 3 fights, 6 fights, 12 fights, to be like, oh, don't feel that way. Don't feel that way. Yes, you want them to feel a different way because that way sucks, but being compassionate is that is the way they feel and it's not invalid. I think it really kind of like, the reason I thought of this is it crystallized in this really beautiful line, and I hope I don't cry, but I might cry because it really hit me. Last night we watched A Wrinkle in Time, the Disney version, and it wasn't great, but Zach Galifianakis is awesome in it. He is really incredible. He plays this very small little character. It's only in a little moment in the whole movie, and he shows this compassion that I'm talking about, this beautiful, beautiful little moment of compassion where this young girl who's searching for her father who's lost in the universe, and they've gone looking for him, and she's supposed to will her way into another dimension, and she's clearly experiencing quite a bit of fear and nervousness and shame, I would imagine. But she says very quietly to Galifianakis' character, she says, what if he doesn't want to be found? Now I am going to cry. His answer to her was not, how dare you think that, he loves you, he's your father, or anything like that. It was not of course he wants to be found, he loves you, don't think that, those are bad thoughts. His answer was, it's okay to be afraid of the answer to that question. So, as someone who has a lot of fight experience, ring experience, and not only with that, but wins and losses, but I try to experience it all. I try to experience all the different varieties that come with this. So, you know, I fight people who are much bigger, or I fight in circumstances that are super unideal. I fought with food poisoning, not because it's I have to be the most tough, but I've experienced that now, put it in the pot of things I've experienced, and so now I know that I can handle that kind of thing. Is that I still get very scared and very down on myself. I still think to myself, I'm not good, I'm terrible. What if I'm not any good? What if I'm just this forever? And the compassionate, beautiful answer is, it's okay to be afraid of the answer to that question. As a point of dealing with this, as a person who maybe has lots of negative inner voices, critical voices for themselves, thoughts like this, that it's not a don't think them, and it's not a indulge in them kind of thing, but they are natural states of the mind to think things like that. A trick that I learned, skill that I learned from Nii Shobo, I did his Killer Instinct, the flagship group training, which was really, really hard for me. It was really good. It's stuff that I never ever could have done on my own, and it was so difficult because it was this work that you have to be accountable for. You really, really have to do the work. And it was very difficult for me. I highly recommend you go look at Nii Shobo's podcast. It's called I'm Not You, or maybe it's called Sports Motivation Podcast, but I'm Not You is his website. He's very cool. He had this brilliant piece about how your brain will answer any question you ask it. And so how you ask that question is actually how you change the way you think. Rather than think positive things rather than negative things, is change the way you're asking a question, because your brain will answer whatever question you ask of it. So instead of why do I suck? Because your brain will come up with answers for why you do in fact suck. You can change the way you're asking your brain questions. So instead of why do I suck, you could be like, what can I do to be better? That's like a bit of a super change, because you're super changing your language there. But okay, say you lost a fight. So instead of why did I lose, which is like because you suck, because you're terrible, because you don't care, like whatever the thing is, if you ask your brain, how did I lose? That's much more constructive, because maybe you lost because you didn't come forward. Maybe you lost because you didn't look confident. Maybe you lost because you should have done more road work. How did I lose is a much more constructive way of asking the question and getting answers than why did I lose, or why do I suck, or whatever these things are. So as a person who talks to yourself, or has loved ones or teammates or whoever who are struggling with any of those things about fear, nerves, thinking that they suck, any of these things, be compassionate to them. It's okay sometimes to just be like, yes, that sucks. This is not telling someone that, yes, they are terrible. This is not telling someone that they should indulge in their negative thoughts. This is not giving people answers that they're not asking for. If they're not asking you to solve a problem for them, you don't have to do it. I actually happen to hate when people say you either win or you learn. I hate that. One of the reasons I hate it is that you learn either way, but one of the reasons I hate it is that it feels like it invalidates how shitty it feels to lose. You can tell someone and be an ally and tell them, that sucks, get back at it. Like, I know you work hard, I know you want it. The reason it sucks is because it means so much to you, which means that's why you should go back and keep working at it. That's a very, very compassionate way to deal with people who are nervous or upset or guilty or any of those things. And then I just love this moment in this movie of, if you are doubting yourself, if you're afraid, if you're nervous, if you think you suck, if you are just so mean to yourself inside your voice and you're like just awful, it is okay to be afraid of the answer to that question. The fear is okay. What you do with it determines how everything else turns out. But those feelings are okay. Keep at it, because it means something. If it means something, the risk is high, but it means something. So go for it.